every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Frank Omalape at Top Stories tonight. President Goodluck Jonathan calls for unity and political stability as Christian faithful celebrate Easter. Also in this program, the 19 estranged APC lawmakers of the Ekiti State House of Assembly served State Governor Ayo Fayoshi notice of gross misconduct. And outside Nigeria, Kenya President Uhuru Kenyatta vows tough response against Garissa University School attack. Thank you for joining us tonight. President Goodluck Jonathan has called on Nigerians to be prepared to make sacrifices for the unity and political stability of the country. President Jonathan made the call in an Easter message he personally signed and made available to journalists by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ruben Abati. He urged Nigerians to use the Easter holiday to reflect on what more they needed to do to ensure that the ongoing political process is concluded successfully. The president says with this year's celebration of Easter taking place at a period of very critical national choices and decisions, Nigerians must be prepared and willing to make sacrifices for greater unity, peace, political stability in the country. In allusion to the successful presidential and National Assembly elections, the president expressed hope for the peaceful and successful conduct of the gubernatorial and state assembly elections. He further urged Nigerians to pray during Easter that God, who had brought the nation this far, will continue to bless the country as it marches onward towards the fulfillment of collective visions of a truly united, strong and prosperous nation. Meanwhile, Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu has called on Nigerians to emulate the virtues of peace and sacrificial living as demonstrated by Jesus Christ. Senator Ekweremadu made the call in his Easter message to Nigerians. He said only selfless as demonstrated by Christ in giving his life in exchange for the salvation of mankind could move the nation forward. Senator Ekweremadu added that the peaceful conduct of the 2015 election so far, against all odds and contrary predictions, shows that God was indeed with Nigeria. He, however, called on Nigerians not to relent in their prayers for the peaceful conclusion of the election on April 11 and to also carry the same attitude of non-violence into the remaining political context. Edo State Governor Adams Oshiomhole says the peaceful conduct of the March 28 presidential election and the violence-free post-election period is enough reasons for Nigerians to celebrate Easter. Oshiomhole made this known in his Easter message to the people of Edo State, saying that although there have been fears of violence during and after the elections, but God has decreed peace. He called on Edo's people to use the festive period to strengthen the unity of the country by showing love irrespective of religion. While commending voters in the state for their support during the presidential election, the governor also urged them to continuously pray for their leaders. The Imo State Federal Road Safety Corps Command advocate proper usage of the road during the Easter festivities. The State Sector Commander Godwin Omiko, in an exclusive interview with CoreTV News, called on road users to observe speed limits to avert accident as movement around the country is on the increase during the Easter holiday. The reports.
With the Easter celebration in the top gear, a period when Christians faithful around the world commemorate the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ, Imo State's Federal Road Safety Commission admonished Nigerian road users traveling across the country to spend the holiday to drive safely.
I want to wish our listeners a happy Easter celebration. As I said, Easter is a time we, the Christians, celebrate the resurrection of Christ, which means the salvation of the Christian truth. It is a time for people to be happy. It is a time for people to move from one end to the other, to go and celebrate with their loved ones, with their family members. And what that means is that there is always movement, high volume of movement from one end to the other. People coming from Lagos, people coming from Port Harcourt, people moving from one state to the other. So there is high vehicular traffic.
He, however, reiterated the command's readiness to punish any offender who breaks the rules with all appropriate measures.
Those who violate the rules of the road, they are there to be prosecuted, you know, and they were also going to organize mobile courts, mobile courts where there will be instant judgment of any violation of traffic offense. So the enforcement is there, the public enlightenment is there, which is part of what we are doing now, and our men are there to enforce the rule.
He commended INEC on the just concluded presidential election and National Assembly, as well as the forthcoming gubernatorial and House of Assembly polls.
The election process, as we witnessed for the presidential election, was very remarkable. The security situation in the state was very okay. We didn't witness much of violence within this period. Of course, where you have 2 or 3 persons and there is a contest, there is bound to be a quarrel. There is bound to be something, but none generated into a very violent situation, and we really want to thank the electorate for going out en masse and casting their vote to their preferred candidate.
With the current traffic across the country, a safe Easter celebration will be most beneficial to Nigerians. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
And now, following the emergence of the APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari as president-elect in the just concluded presidential elections, the estranged 19 All-Progressive Congress lawmakers of the Ekiti State House of Assembly have served the state governor Ayo Faushe notice of gross misconduct. The letter titled "Read Notice of Allegations of Gross Misconduct" reads 8 impeachable allegations leveled against the governor, which includes invasions of the House of Assembly with thugs and miscreants, instigating unconstitutional takeover of the House by 7 legislators to sit in contravention of Section 96, Subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, prevention of the 19 APC legislative members from performing legislative duties with the use of security agents and armed thugs, and sponsoring an unlawful impeachment process in the House. All the allegations listed in the notice is spending Ekiti state funds without the requisite constitutional approval and contravention of the Constitution, running the government of Ekiti State without legally constituted Executive Council, and contravention of Section 192 of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and also operating an illegal 2014 budget. In his response, Faushe has condemned the lawmakers as acting like jesters. He says he read the notice of the impeachment like any other persons online, claiming that Adewale Omiri has ceased being the Speaker of the House. And in a related development, the factional Speaker of the Ekiti State House of Assembly, Dele Olugbemi, has dismissed the purported notice of impeachment against Governor Ayo Dele Faushe and his deputy Olushola Eleka by the All Progressive Congress lawmakers. In petition to the State Commissioner of Police Taiwo Lakanu and Director of the Department of State Service Samuel Tamuno, Olugbemi asked for the prosecution of the embattled Speaker Adewale Omiri for forgery, impersonation and attempt to cause breach of the public peace. Olugbemi described the notice of impeachment as employed by the APC to distract the state government. According to him, the Assembly never sat at any time to deliberate or pass any motion for impeachment of Fanshi. In an April 4 letter written to the State Chief Judge, Justice Ayodiji Dramala, Olugbemi says Adewale Omere, who signed the purported impeachment notice as Speaker of the State House of Assembly, was duly impeached at the plenary section of the House on November 20, 2014. 7 People Democratic Party lawmakers had on November 20, 2014 impeached Omere and his deputy Tunji Orishalade. Olugbemi, an ally of the governor, was installed as a speaker by the faction and had been presiding over the assembly. Well, from there now, while addressing the large crowd at the mega rally held in Agege in support for Akinwumi Ambode and other APC candidates, Governor Fashola thanked all supporters for their steadfastness in the party and urged for more votes in the April 11 governorship election. He says by doing so, Lagos state government will have every access to the government at the center.
For your massive support last week. Congratulate yourself, congratulate Nigeria. Shake the person next to you. Congratulate the person next to you.
He later persuaded the people of Lagos to give APC governorship candidate Akinwumi Ambode 3 million votes to ensure that he wins.
Thank you for standing up for what you believe. You wanted change in Abuja. Has it happened? What do you want in Lagos? What do you want in Lagos? What do you want in Lagos? Who are you going to vote for? Who are you going to vote for? Nobody can stop that. Yes. Doro sweet past anybody way, Doro down there. Doro hammer, Doro bako.
And now the chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Adamu Mozu, has revealed that Lagos and Rivers State are the primary target of the party in the next Saturday's gubernatorial elections across the country. He made this revelation in a statement where he urged members of the party to mobilize ahead of the polls, saying the All Progressive Congress is currently distracted by its success at the presidential election. Describing APC presidential victory as went off, Mozu says the PDP intend winning in 24 states out of the 29 states where the election will hold. Mozu and 6 PDP members should be proud of the party's antecedents and do all within their power to emerge victorious on Saturday. The key to winning the remaining elections is heavy turnout and voting the PDP all the way, according to the chairman. He urged all PDP governorship candidates to go out and finish the good fight and come out triumph in the remaining gubernatorial and Houses of Assembly elections on April 11. This is CoreTV Primetime News. After the break, Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs admonishes President-elect Muhammadu Buhari on other issues. Find out more after this timeout.
Dear Lagosians, thank you for voting the All Progressives Congress APC and for our victory in the presidential election. But there's still more work to do. To continue to enjoy the ongoing regeneration that started almost 16 years ago in Lagos State, vote for Akinwumi Ambode as governor and APC candidates for the Lagos State House of Assembly. The APC government in Lagos State will continue to provide good roads and infrastructure, transportation, healthcare, education, housing, electricity, employment, markets, clean environment, security, and much more. Lagosians, let's consolidate on our collective achievements and keep Lagos walking. This is not the time to experiment. Akinwumi Ambode has over 27 years' experience as a public administrator and is the man for the job. On Saturday, 11th April 2015, come out en masse and vote APC. Support continuity of excellence. Vote Akinwumi Ambode for Governor of Lagos State. Vote APC.
Morning, Mr. President.
Morning, sir.
How are you, Mr. President?
How are you, sir?
How is the campaign?
We must learn to live together as brothers, or perish together as fools. Martin Luther King, Jr.
You have been watching CoreTV Primetime News live from our Lagos studio. If you just joined us, here is a quick reminder of our top stories. President Goodluck Jonathan calls for unity and political stability as Christian faithful celebrate Easter. Also, the 19 estranged APC lawmakers of the Ekiti State House of Assembly served State Governor Ayo Fayose notice of gross misconduct. You can also interact with us on our social media platforms like our Facebook page is facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can also follow at CoreTV News NG. And for live streaming, log on to youtube.com/CoreTV. Leave a space, then news. And now the police in Kano have denied suggestions that the resident electoral commissioner Mikaila Abdullahi and members of his family were burnt to death in the early morning fire that gutted the home. They also noted that there is no physical injury on the bodies, contrary to reports in the leadership newspaper. Police spokesman Magaji Majia said a comprehensive report and investigation jointly carried out with the fire service would soon be made public. He recalled that Abdullahi, his wife and 2 daughters were found unconscious on the floor of the bathroom inside the master bedroom of the house. According to the police spokesman, doctors at the Murtala Muhammad Specialty Hospital confirmed that the family died from inhalation of hot and black smoke. Majia, however, noted that the late resident electoral commissioner before his death was instrumental to the peaceful atmosphere in the state because of the manner he conducted himself before, during and after the election. And as a tussle for power between the All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party continues across the country, the PDP in Imo State has retreated its readiness to win the April 11 governorship election. Our correspondent Ajibade Officer has details.
Chijioke Ede, a PDP stalwart who contested to get a ticket for the State House of Assembly but lost at the primaries, described the PDP governorship candidate as a man of credibility worthy to be voted for.
He represented his federal constituency, Abombi Sengobala federal constituency, for 3 good times. And you know what it means. That's a record showing that his words are his words, showing that what he says, he has all it takes to do it. And that's why I'm supporting him, because he's one person that whatever he has told the Molites he's going to do, he will do it. I know that one.
He did not hesitate to congratulate the senators-elect and particularly project the words of Sam Daddy, who won the Owerri Zone senatorial seat.
I've known Sam Daddy only for a very long time, and there's something people should realize. Sam Daddy was once a local government chairman, and he equally was a TC chairman. He came into House of Assembly and had a second term. These things are records, and now he has won the senatorial zone. Do you think his people have not seen anything in him allowing him to be representing them in these capacities? That's one thing. That's a test case.
He, however, assures total victory at the governorship polls and called on the electorate to ensure their vote counts.
The Imo chapter of the All Progressive Congress Party has expressed great gratitude to God for the victory the party recorded in the just concluded presidential elections. The campaign DG of the incumbent governor, Rochas Okrocha, and the APC flag bearer spoke to CoreTV News on the victory and the challenges that comes with it.
The event, to many Imolites who attended, was indeed a memorable one. While the entire crowd waited for the arrival of the governor and flag bearer of the APC, diverse cultural activities went on as they all celebrate victory. With the arrival of the governor, the meeting's mandate was made known, even as he shares bitter experience about what he had to experience with the Nigerian army and other security agencies during the presidential election that eventually brought Muhammadu Buhari on board as the winner. He urged all Imolites to keep the fighting spirit alive to ensure they come out en masse to vote him so Imo State will benefit fully from the positive change to come. He urged all Imolites to keep the fighting spirit alive and ensure they come out en masse to vote him so Imo State will benefit fully from the positive change to come.
But my greatest happiness today is that finally, the Lord has turned around the captivity of his people. And we will again that him and our mouth is filled with love.
Afterwards, some stakeholders also spoke to the audience, calling on them to take the message to every nook and cranny of Southeast so the land can regain whatever it has lost.
On 28th, as on Saturday, during the presidential and national assembly election, APC members passed through a very excruciating experience in the hands of PDP members, police, army, SSS, civil defense, and in fact, the electoral officers, both ad hoc and the permanent staff of INEC.
It's fantastic. You see, this type of thing had never happened. Like you said, when they started, when the governor were doing all these things, people didn't take it seriously. But today, history has vindicated him. It looks as if Imo State is the only state in the southeast. So Owolo had done tremendously well, and we appreciate him. That's why I back him. I back him very, very well. Because when he tells me something, and after viewing it, I see that he's on the track, I follow him.
As Nigerians look forward to the forthcoming gubernatorial elections, all hope to see the peace experience in the presidential election will continue across the country.
And now the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs has urged Nigeria's President-elect Muhammadu Buhari to be magnanimous in victory and work for the unity of the country. Speaking at Ilorin, the body called on the President-elect not to disappoint Nigerians who entrusted him with power. Our correspondent Rashid has more.
While Nigerians, especially the APC, are still in jubilation mode following the emergence of Muhammadu Buhari as president-elect, some stakeholders have started setting agenda for the incoming administration. One of those is the Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs under the chairmanship of the Sultan of Sokoto, Sa'ad Abubakar. Rising from its meeting in Ilorin, the body, speaking through its Secretary General, Isiaq Oloyede, congratulated Buhari on his victory, saying the victory is for Nigerians and will be meaningful only if he heals old wounds through a unifying government.
Nigerians have great expectation from an incorruptible man, a role model, a gallant officer, and distinguished statesman who they could not be induced by money to abandon. It is your responsibility not to disappoint the teeming majority, the masses especially, who sacrifice their time, energy, and lives because their hopes hang on you. As you are set to commence this onerous task before you, we urge you to be careful of those who hail you and reflect on the criticism of your critics. Know that every failure is a test, and every success is a trial. You have passed the test of past failures, and it is the wish of Almighty Allah to try you now with success. For every action, there is a reaction. For every opportunity, there is responsibility. And for every appointment, there is accountability before man and Allah.
As the nation looks forward to the May 29 handing of age, the Council urged Nigerians to be united as it commends President Goodluck Jonathan for the display of spirit of sportsmanship following the announcement of the poll results.
Excellency, you have earned your name in gold in the history of our nation. Under your watch, Nigeria has organized the best election in our history, and it is satisfying that the American ambassador to Nigeria was reported to have said he would recommend a component of our electoral process to his country, which means your administration has positively impacted on the electoral process. Human beings are fallible, and you have your own weaknesses like the rest of us. We pray that Almighty Allah forgive your lapses and direct your future course. Nigerians are indeed proud of you, and we are proud to associate with your courage and magnanimity.
With Nigerians gradually getting over the hysteria of presidential poll, how Buhari's administration should or will look like is now the center stage of discourse. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. We take another break now. We'll be back with business, sport, and other stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
And in business now, the Nigerian Interbank Settlement 16 has said bank customers will not be charged for the BVN cards that would be issued to them after they have completed their registration. This was made known by the Managing Director of Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, Adi Shinubi, at the bankers' meeting. The NIB boss, who is responsible for the implementation of the BVN, said there are efforts to encourage enrollment on the BVN. Also, the CBN has directed banks to only honor transactions over 100 million lending from customers with BVN from March 2015. Such transactions, according to the APS band, include but not limited to money transfers, loans and contingencies, among others. The regulator also urged all bank customers to register for their BVN by June 2015, warning that any bank customer without a BVN will be deemed to have inadequate Know Your Customers by the date. Brent crude for May delivery was up to 80 cents at $55.9 a barrel after earlier touching a section low of $54.70. U.S. crude for May delivery was trading 97 cents higher at $48.57 a barrel. And in sports now, the three invited Flying Eagles players Taiwo Awuni, Musa Mohammed and left back Mustafa Abdullahi have been dazzling and are training with the under-23 side ahead of their trip to Zambia. Coach Samson Siasial invited 5 boys from the victorious African Youth Championship under-20 team to the Dream Team to monitor them and see if they can't fit to his plan. The remaining 2 are Dele Alampasu and Bernard Boba. The Dream Team defeated Abuja Football College 1-0 in a friendly match on Thursday, but it was the star performance of the trio of under-20 players and one of the 4 invited foreign-based professionals, Club Africans attacking midfielder Patrick Nwako, which caught the eyes. Nigeria will go to Zambia in search of a ticket to the 2015 All-Africa Games after the first leg final round qualifier in Abuja ended goalless. The epic encounter will be played inside the National Hero Stadium in Lusaka. And our Stoke City coach Marcus is confident that Peter Odewingie will soon be available for selection again for a spell on the sidelines due to injury. The 33-year-old has not made a competitive appearance for the Porter since being stretched out of a 1-0 win at Manchester City in late August with knee ligament damage. However, Hughes believes the Nigerian international will soon be able to resume squad training and take the next step in his recovery. Odewingie scored 5 goals as he sparked Stoke's surge up the table in the second half of last season after joining from Cardiff in a swap deal involving Kevin Jones. Arsenal tightened their grip on a place in the Premier League's top 4-5 while inflicting damage on the Liverpool's Champions League aspirations with a convincing victory at Emirates Stadium. And Harrods, Brace and Wayne Rooney finish gave Manchester United a 3-1 win over Aston Villa. Southampton fell 0-1 to Everton, while Leicester City produced a 2-1 victory over West Ham United. In other results, Befetimbi Gomes scored twice as Swansea City clinched a 3-1 win over 15th place Hull City. Queen's Park Rangers keep their Premier League hopes alive when they beat West Bromwich Albion 4-1 away to move to 18th on the log. And our British Andy Murray will face world #1 Novak Djokovic in the final of the Miami Open on Sunday. The third seed Murray beats Czech 8th seed Thomas Bennett 6-4, 6-4 to reach the final for a 4th time. The 27-year-old Scot will reach 500 career wins this week, won the title in 2009 and 2013. The defending champion Djokovic overcame USA's John Isner 7-6, 7-3, 6-2 to set up a meeting with Murray, whom he beat in India Wales last week. Murray's convincing victory, in which he broke Bedwick survey 4 times, took his career record against him to 6-6. It's still CoreTV Primetime News. We'll be back after the short break. Don't go away.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And outside Nigeria now, Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has vowed to respond in the severest ways possible to the Al-Shabaab militant attack on Garissa University, in which 148 people died. In an address to the nation, Kenyatta stated the Islamic group posed an existential threat to Kenya. He also said the government would take steps to crack down on those who planned and financed terrorist attacks, vowing to fight terrorism to the end. He said the militant would not succeed in their aim of creating an Islamic caliphate in Kenya. Kenyatta added that the task of combating terrorism had been complicated by the fact that the planners and financiers of this brutality are deeply embedded in their community. The president address came as the relatives of victims killed at a morgue in the capital Nairobi to identify their loved ones, seeing it as a time for parents to grieve for their loss. Kenyatta declared 3 days of mourning for the victims, among which were students. And our protesters waving Australian flags and carrying signs such as Yes Australia, No Sharia rallied around the country in events organizers said were against Islamic extremism. Also, protesters carrying homemade IG and reading No Islam, No Sharia, No Halal were seen at the event. The Reclaim Australia event drew hundreds of supporters, but also triggered counter-rallies from other groups who criticized them as racist and called for greater tolerance. Spokeswoman for Reclaim Australia, Catherine Brennan, told reporters that they are pro-Australian values and anti-extreme Islam, but are not anti-Muslim, also adding that there was no racism behind the rallies, which she said had attracted people from diverse backgrounds. John Oliver of Reclaim Australia told Australian Broadcasting Corporation that the group was not against any particular race or any particular religion. It's still CoreTV Primetime News. Just before we go tonight, here is a recap of our major headlines. We told you that President Goodluck Jonathan calls for unity and political stability as Christian faithful celebrate Easter worldwide. We also told you that the 19 estranged APC lawmakers of the Ekiti State House of Assembly served State Governor Afashi notice of gross misconduct. And outside Nigeria, Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta vows tough response against Garissa University school attack. Well, it has been a show tonight on CoreTV Primetime News. Many thanks for being part of it tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Frank Omalape. Have a good night rest.